Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 43. Nishpaditas cha yena
Nishpadita cha Katsyena
Bhagavad Virgraha Nalubhihi
Bhagavati Granalubhi
Sadhu Chistam Hi Me Sarvam
Sadhu Uchishtam Hi Me Sarvam
Atmana Saha Kim Dade.
Atmana Saha Kim Dade.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear Brahmana, you have carried out the order thoroughly because you are also as compassionate as the Lord. It is my duty, therefore, to offer you something, but all I possess are but remnants of food taken by great saintly persons. What shall I give? The word sadhu chistam is significant in this verse. Pṛthu Mahārāja got his kingdom from great saintly persons like Bhrigu and others, just as one gets remnants of food. After the death of King Vena, the whole world was bereft of a popular ruler. There were so many catastrophes occurring that the great persons, headed by Bhrigu, created the body of King Pṛthu out of the body of this dead father, King Vena. You'll remember that? That Vena was very
Yes.
yeah. Okay. So since King Pṛthu was thus offered the kingdom, by the virtue of the mercy of great saintly persons, he did not want to divide his kingdom among saints like the Kumāras. When a father is eating food, he may, out of compassion, offer the remnants of his food to his son. Although such food may be already chewed by the father, it cannot be offered to the father again. Pṛthu Mahārāja's position was something like that. Whatever he possessed had already been chewed, and therefore he could not offer it to the Kumāras. Indirectly, however, he offered everything he possessed to the Kumāras, and consequently, they utilized his possessions in whatever way they liked. The next verse clarifies this matter. So Prabhupada is helping us understand that the kingdom was given to Pṛthu Mahārāja by the saints, the Brahmanas. They created him out of the body of King Vena. They made him the king. So he's received it from the saints and he's offering it back to the saints, to the sadhus.
So it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with his father, because they say like whatever is eaten, gets.
So it's just an example that Prabhupada is putting. He's giving the example that when the father is eating something, even though it may be like from his plate, he'll give to the son. And then, although such food may be already chewed by the father, it cannot be offered to the father again. So the son cannot again eat it and then again give it. This is what Prabhupada is putting in the purport. The father shares something to the son. The son takes it, then the son cannot put a bite from it and then again give it to the father because he received it from the father. So he just accepts whatever he has received. So the Prabhupada is explaining that that's why he could not give the kingdom which was given to him by the saints already to the saints, but indirectly he was offering the kingdom to the saints. And Prabhupada is saying the next verse we will be able to understand this more clearly. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah, because the kingdom was given to Pṛthu by the saints. And so he's received it like a prasad from the saints. So he's like, how can I give back the prasad? You know, I've used it, I've utilized it, how I can offer it back to the saint. But indirectly, he is giving it. This is what Prabhupada is trying to say. That indirectly, however, he offered everything he possessed to the Kumāras, and consequently they utilized his possessions in whatever way they liked. The next verse clarifies this matter. So let's read on.
Yeah.
Pranadhara Sutta Brahman
Pranadhara Sutta Brahman
Grahascha Saparichadaha
Grahascha Parichada
Rajyam Balam Mahikosha
Rajyam Balam Mahikosha
Iti Sarvam Niveditam.
Iti Sarvam Niveditam.
The king continued, therefore, my dear Brahmanas, my life, wife, children, home, furniture, and household paraphernalia, my kingdom, strength, land, and especially my treasury are all offered unto you. So Pṛthu Maharaj is giving everything. He's offering everything to the four Kumāras. In some readings, the word Dara is not used, but the word used then is Raya, which means wealth. In India, there are still wealthy persons who are recognized by the state as Raya. A great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was called Ramananda Rai because he was governor of Madras and very rich. There are still many holders of the title Rai, Rai Bahadur, Rai Chaudhary, and so on. So Prabhupada is explaining to us this word Rai means someone who has a lot of wealth. It's a rich person. The dhara or wife is not permitted to be offered to the brahmanas. Everything is offered to worthy persons who are able to accept charity. But nowhere is it found that one offers his wife. Therefore, in this case, the reading Raya is more accurate than Dara. Also, since Pṛthu Maharaj offered everything to the Kumāras, the word kosha, treasury, need not be separately mentioned. So Prabhupada is explaining to us that what Pṛthu Maharaj is saying, that he's offering his treasury to his riches, his wealth to the four Kumāras, not his wife. Wife is not given, but the wealth is given. So that's what Prabhupada is helping us understand. Kings and emperors used to keep a private treasury which was known as Ratna Bhanda. The Ratna Bhanda was a special treasury room which contained special jewelries such as bangles, necklaces, and so on, which were presented to the king by the citizens. This jewelry was kept separate from the regular treasury house, where all the collected revenues were kept. Thus, Pṛthu Maharaj offered his stock of private jewelry to the lotus feet of the Kumāras. It has already been admitted that all the king's property belonged to the Brahmanas and that Pṛthu Maharaj was simply using it for the welfare of the state. So it seems there was a separate jewelry room, not a jewelry drawer or a jewelry box, a jewelry room in which the citizens are giving this jewelry to the king. And this is separate from the treasury, the state treasury, where the taxes are collected, all that. That's different. These are the gifts that the king is receiving. So Pṛthu Maharaj is offering this, all the jewelry that he has to the Kumāras. So what we are hearing is that Pṛthu Maharaj was, although he's the emperor of the world, he's so renounced, he's not attached. That's how he's telling the four Kumāras, everything is for you. As Prabhupada is saying, he was simply using it for the welfare of the state. He's just doing his duty. He's not attached to it. If it were actually the property of the Brahmanas, how could it be offered again to them? In this regard, Sripad Sridhar Swami has explained that this offering is just like the servant's offering of food to his master. The food already belongs to the master. for the master has purchased it. But the servant, by preparing food, makes it acceptable to the master and thus offers it to him. In this way, everything belonging to Pṛthu Maharaj was offered to the Kumāras. So one may put up an argument for that, oh, you are saying everything was belonging to the Brahmanas, to the sadhus. Then how is Pṛthu Maharaj again offering it to the sadhus? Anyway, it belonged to the sadhus. It doesn't belong to Pṛthu Maharaj. Then why is he saying, I'm offering you my kingdom? Someone may put this argument. So Prabhupada is helping us explain Sridhar Swami Maharaj. He's a great acharya who's given his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. So he explains that we can understand that the food belongs to the master, but yet the servant is offering the food, not to the master. He's preparing it and he's offering it, although it belongs to the master. So similarly, belongs to the sadhus. Pṛthu Maharaj is just offering it, just as a servant offers. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Also, the example can be given then, the Ganges. When we go to the Ganges, we worship Ganges by the Ganges water. We take a palmful of water of the Ganga and then we offer it back to her. Isn't it? Like you pick up a palmful of Ganga water, you offer it back to her. So it's hers only, but we are worshipping her with it. So Pṛthu Maharaj is doing the same thing.
Like us also, no? That everything we have belongs to Krishna. Krishna has given us. And then we are just giving, when we offer, we are just offering it back to him only. Right?
Yes.
We can give ourselves our example too.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Yes. Sainapatyam cha rajyam cha.
Senapatyam cha rajyam cha.
Danda netretvam eva cha.
Danda netratvam eva cha.
Sarvalokadipatyam cha.
Sarvalokadipatyam cha.
Veda shastra vid arhate.
Veda shastra arhati.
Since only a person who's completely educated, according to the principles of Vedic knowledge, deserves to be commander-in-chief, ruler of the state, the first to chastise, or the proprietor of the whole planet, Pṛthu Maharaj offered everything to the Kumāras. In this verse, it is very clearly stated that a kingdom, state, or empire must be governed under the instructions of saintly persons and brahmanas like the Kumāras. When monarchy ruled throughout the world, the monarch was actually directed by a board of brahmanas and saintly persons. So the Rajarishis, when they were ruling, there would be one emperor ruling the entire planet, and he was taking advice from the sadhus, the brahmanas. The king, as the administrator of the state, executed his duties as a servant of the brahmanas. So they would tell him, you do this, because they are the intelligent people, and the king has the strength. So the intelligence of the brahmanas and the strength of the king, like that. It's a good cooperation. It was not that the kings of brahmanas were dictators, nor did they consider themselves proprietors of the state. The kings were also well versed in Vedic literatures and thus were familiar with the injunction of Sri Upanishad, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything that exists belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Sri Upanishad says that. Whatever is existing, who does it belong to? We think it belongs to us.
Krishna.
Yeah, actually it belongs to Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also claims that he is the proprietor of all planetary systems. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. So Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, text 29. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. That he is the benefactor of all sacrifices. All sacrifices, austerities, penances are meant to satisfy Krishna. Then who has made the planets? Krishna is saying he has made it. He is the proprietor. He's a proprietor because he's made them. He's created them. You know, if there's an artist, he paints a painting. So he's the proprietor of that painting. So that's Krishna's position. Since this is the case, no one can claim to be the proprietor of the state. The king, president, or head of the state should always remember that he is not the proprietor but the servant. So, but we forget. We say, no, I'm the proprietor. It belongs to me. And we forget that it belongs to Krishna. In the present age, the king or president forgets that he is the servant of God and thinks of himself as servant of the people. The present democratic government is proclaimed to be a people's government, a government by the people and for the people. But this type of government is not sanctioned by the Vedas. The Vedas maintain that a kingdom should be governed for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead and should therefore be ruled by a representative of the Lord. Krishna wants that a devotee should rule over others. Why? Because the devotee can properly take care of all the citizens, not only particular group of citizens, not only particular, community or a particular class, but each and every citizen can be taken care of. That's why Krishna wants the devotees to rule. In this verse, it is clear the head of a state should not be appointed if he is bereft of all Vedic knowledge. In this verse, it is clearly stated, Veda Shastra with Arhati, that all high government posts are specially meant for persons who are well conversant with the teachings of the Vedas. Because, as they say, great authority, what's that? With great power comes great responsibility. So they have got a lot of power to influence the common person's life. And so that's the reason the Vedas are saying they should be learned in the Vedas. In the Vedas, there are definite instructions defining how a king, commander-in-chief, soldier, and citizen should behave. Unfortunately, there are many so-called philosophers in the present age who give instruction without citing authority, and many leaders follow their unauthorized instruction. Consequently, people are not happy. So Prabhupada is saying maybe the government leader is taking instruction from someone, but the person who's giving the instruction, he's not saying where is this instruction coming from? Which Shastra is it coming from? It could be somebody's imagination. And then what happens is there's general anxiety in the people, too much anxiety in everyone because the needs are not taken care of. The modern theory of dialectical communism is set forth by Karl Marx and followed by communist governments is not perfect. According to Vedic communism, no one in the state should ever starve. Presently, there are many bogus institutions which are collecting funds from the public for the purpose of giving food to starving people. But these funds are invariably misused. According to the Vedic instructions, the government should arrange things in such a way that there will be no question of starvation. So Prabhupada is helping us understand that it's not that certain institutions should be in charge of providing food to others because there can be misuse of funds, no? Collecting donations and saying that we are going to feed all the people, but there may be some people within the institution may misappropriate the funds. So it is the duty of the government to make sure that no one is starving. So then there is no use of such institutions because it's the responsibility of the government. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that a householder must see to it that even a lizard or a snake does not starve. They also must be given food. So Prabhupada's father, he used to sell cloth. He had a shop. Then there would be rats, no, coming there in the night. He would keep a bowl of rice over there so that the rats could eat the rice. They could fill their stomachs with the rice and not eat the cloth. So anyway, the point being made is that's what the grihast would do. In actuality, however, there's no question of starvation because everything is the property of the Supreme Lord, and He sees to it that there is ample arrangement for feeding everyone. So Krishna makes the arrangement for us, for the ant, for the elephant, for everyone. In the Vedas, Kathopanishad 2.13, it is said, Eko Bahuna Yo Vidadati Kaman. The Supreme Lord supplies the necessities of life to everyone, and there is no question of starvation. If anyone starves, it is due to the mismanagement of the so-called ruler, governor, or president. So Krishna provides for everyone. It's just we misuse what Krishna provides us with. We are the one who misappropriating the things. It is clear, therefore, that a person who is not well versed in the Vedic injunctions, Veda Shastra, should not run for election as president, governor, etc. Formerly, kings were Rajarishis, which meant that although they were serving as kings, they were as good as saintly persons because they would not transgress any of the injunctions of the Vedic scriptures and would rule under the direction of great saintly persons and brahmanas. So in the Vedic system, the kings were as good as sadhus, Rajarishis. They were kings, but they were also saints. That's how they would be able to take care of the kingdom very nicely, and they would get the guidance from the brahmanas. According to this arrangement, modern presidents, governors, and chief executive officers are all unworthy of their posts because they are not conversant with Vedic administrative knowledge and they do not take direction from great saintly persons and brahmanas. Because of his disobedience to the orders of the Vedas and brahmanas, King Vena, Pṛthu Mahārāja's father, was killed by the brahmanas. Pṛthu Mahārāja, therefore, knew very well that it behooved him to rule the planet as the servant of the saintly persons and brahmanas. So this is the ideal ruler. The ideal ruler rules as a servant of the people. He does not think of himself that, oh, I am so powerful and everyone should serve me now because I am the head of state or I am the ruler. But rather he understands that he in fact has to serve everyone who's in the state. That he is the servant of all. That is Pṛthu Mahārāja's position. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
Thank you so much for listening and joining in. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.